The time is just coming up to 10 minutes to 3. We are now broadcasting the 6th in a series of 8 talks by the writer C.S. Lewis, best known for his imaginative fables, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and the Screwtape Letters. This afternoon, his theme is Christian marriage.
I must begin by making it plain that I have never been married myself. However, the Christian idea of marriage is not based on the experience of individual men and women, but on the teaching of Christ. That is, that marriage is for life.
And now the Honourable Professor Plain Jack Lewis will make another very complicated question very simple. This week, infanticide. Infanticide is a long word, isn't it? Let me put it to you in the bluff, common man's language that has made me so popular among bluff, common men.
I don't believe you heard a word of it.
A noble address, Jack. Judiciously navigated.
Shouldn't I have said that I've not been married?
Not at all. The personal touch.
Anyway, I don't see it makes any difference. We don't expect those who teach us sexual morality to be practicing fornicating.
I shouldn't play that card too often, Jack. The expert on marriage who has never been married. The lecturer on romantic love who believes that romantic love is a medieval invention. The author of children's books who's never had any children. You'll end up the non-playing captain in the cricket game of life.
Cricket game of life.
The spectator sees more of the sport.
Oh, come on, Jack. When was the last time you even talked to a woman? I mean, about anything that matters.
Women have no concept about what really matters. How could Jack possibly talk to them about it?
Most of my letters come from women. They write about what really matters. To them, very much so.
Dear Professor Lewis, last night I had a vision of a man with a brown beard. Was it Jesus?
Often it's about their faith, yes, but just as often it's about their marriages. Don't ask me why.
Game of life.
Listen to this one. Dear Mr. Lewis, you have played a greater part in my life than you can ever know. My children adore your Narnia fantasies, especially my youngest boy. My husband is fascinated by your science fiction books. So who am I? So far, I have been, in the following order, a Jewish atheist, an award-winning poet, a card-carrying communist, a convert to Christianity, and mother of 2 boys.
Must be American.
Mrs. William L. Gresham, Pleasant Plains, Statburg, New York State.
Am I right that you are as fascinated as I am by the image of the unfound door? The mythical door that leads out of time and space into where? The undiscovered country? The never land? Is this your land of Narnia that you get to through the magic wardrobe? I know you wrote your Narnia books for children. Maybe I'm still a child. Maybe you are for that matter. I enclose one of my poems. It's called Snow in Madrid, written during the Civil War in Spain. First, I must boast a little and tell you that my collection of poems won a National Institute Award, which I shared with Robert Frost. That certainly won't wipe me off as a nut. Here's Snow in Madrid. Softly, so casual, lovely, so light, so light. The cool sky lets fall something one does not find. Men, before perishing, see with unwounded eye, for once a gentle thing fall from the sky.
I propose to start this morning with a picture. Pictures do not tax the brain, they say. So picture, if you please, gentlemen. Ladies, a May morning in the country. You are walking a little aimlessly beside a river. You come upon a garden enclosed by a high wall. You walk around the wall, you find a door. You enter the garden. Inside there is a fountain. In Inside the fountain lie 2 crystal stones. You look into the stones, and there you'll see in reflection another garden, a rose garden. In the midst of the roses, there grows one beautiful rosebud. You are filled with longing for this rosebud. You stretch out one hand and pluck the bud. Not exactly real life, is it? This is Guillaume de Lorie's allegorical description of the experience of falling in love from the Roman de la Rose. Now, the question I want to put to you is it true? Is this real life? Now, before you jump to the obvious conclusion, ask yourself a further question. Which is more real? Falling in love or picking a rose?
Oh, boy, may dream of
Mrs. Gresham writes a strange sort of letter.
Who is Mrs. Gresham?
The Jewish communist Christian American.
Ah, yes. Pleasant Plains.
She writes as if she knows me already.
Price of fame.
I don't mean she's presumptuous. I suppose she is. I mean, she seems to have seen through me.
How can she have?
I don't know. I suppose she's read my books.
I expect it's just the American style. Americans don't understand about inhibitions.
I'm amused that you see me as the child. I believe I would rather be the child caught in the magic spell than the magician casting it. In my book called The Magician's Nephew, it is, of course, the child who brings the magic that saves his mother from death. This, I fear, is pure wish fulfillment. Long ago, there was a time when such events were real. I refer to my own life. But I had no such magic. As for Narnia itself, no, it is not the true Never Never Land. I take it you mean heaven. Narnia exists in time and will come to an end. Like our real world by which we set such store, it is only a part of the Shadowlands. Friday is BBC all day.
Saturday?
Saturday.
Annual Assembly of the Women's Literary Guild.
Oh, yes. Couldn't I give them the talk I gave to the disabled veterans?
Might not one of the literary women be married to a disabled veteran?
Mrs. Gresham is coming to England.
Mrs. Gresham of the Pleasant Plains, does she want to talk too?
Yes, she wants to meet us.
Us?
Yes, I quote. Perhaps you and your brother, Major Lewis, would find time to join me for tea in an hotel.
Tea is safe, hotel is safe.
Shall we say yes?
Do we want to?
You might be curious to see what she looks like.
Voluminous fur coat, long pointed nose,
Thin, nervy, shrill voice,
spectacles,
thick brown rims,
thick brown eyes.
relentlessly understanding.
There she in the red and green check.
He's too young.
How old is she?
40, I don't know. What about the fur coat? Didn't we say that she'd have a fur coat?
God preserve us. Thank you, Lord. Aren't women peculiar?
Two things that men find most unnatural. The dominance of the female and the dominance of the collective.
What are you talking about?
Insects. That's what's wrong with insects.
Mr. Lewis, I'm Joy Gresham. I remember announcing to my parents that I was an atheist at the age of 8. By high school, I had it all worked out. Men are only 8. Virtue is only custom. Life is only an electrochemical reaction. Mind is only a set of conditioned reflexes, and anyway, most people aren't rational like me. Love, art, and altruism are only sex. The universe is only matter. Matter is only energy. I've forgotten what I said energy was only. Portrait of a happy materialist, but somewhere deep inside there was this girl with dreaming eyes, furiously scribbling verses. Where is everybody?
Working, studying, bent over books.
That's your story.
I'm sorry.
Well, I've been developing this theory about the English. Now, the big question about the English is, where are they all? Why are they so tired? You must have noticed they don't talk, they don't move. All day long, they're timid and lethargic. Only one possible explanation. The English are nocturnal creatures. They do their living at night.
Oh, that's your explanation, is it?
I believe that somewhere in England there's this terrific party going on all through the night with everyone yelling and stomping and having the best time. See what I mean? They're all slipping it off. You're different to how I imagined.
In what way?
Beefier. How about me? Am I the way you thought I'd be?
No, I can honestly say that you're a complete surprise.
Good. I like that.
How long do you plan to stay in England?
Till the end of December. Boys aren't too happy about not being home for Christmas, but they like the snow.
Of course, you have two boys, David and,
Douglas. He's a Narnia fan. I must tell you, he'd really like to meet you.
And Michelle. You expect to be in Oxford again?
I could do.
But if you give us adequate warning, I dare say we could rise to a T. What do you say, warning?
Whatever you say, Jack.
Mommy, is this the one?
Yes, wait a minute, will you?
Hello, which one are you?
David. Are you him?
No, I'm his brother. So, you found us, Mrs. Gresham.
Are you him?
Yes, I suppose I am.
You don't look like him.
This one's the tricky one, the knight. This is what he does. 1, 2, see that? Any 2 squares, as long as he turns a corner. You try. No, only 2 squares.
Were you actually a member of the party?
Oh, yes. Paid up Communist Party member.
That's it.
I even edited an anthology of anti-imperialist war poetry of the United Nations.
Which English poets did you include?
Couldn't find any English poets, not ones who had the right ideological line. So I invented 2. Megan Coombs Dawson and Hayden Weir.
Hayden Weir.
He died in battle early in the war, heroically.
So, you were a true believer.
I thought I was. I believed there had to be more. I just got the wrong more. All my life, I've known I had a home somewhere. So I had to go in all the houses along the way looking for it, hoping I'd recognize it. can tell you I have wandered into a lot of wrong houses.
Have you found the right house now?
I think so.
All my life, I've had a sense of... I never knew what to call it. Moments of longing that seemed to come from another world. I wandered into a few wrong houses of my own. For me, the great myths came from the north. Siegfried, twilight of the gods. The Christian myths never seemed to have the same power.
You saw it as a myth.
Why did there? The dying hero, the god who sacrifices himself for his people. What always stumped me was the sheer number of other dying god myths there were. I could never understand why our myth should happen to be the only one that was true. It didn't seem to be any more likely than the others.
However you talk about gods can sound a little wacky.
Quite so. My problem was to tell the one true wackiness from all the competing versions.
So, how did you get unstumped?
Well, one day I thought, maybe they're all true, always telling the same story. What if there is just the one true myth that came to reality in Jesus Christ? And all the other myths merely echoes of it. A little blurred, a little confused. Like Chinese whispers.
That sounds rather cerebral to me.
Well, in a way, I did think myself to faith. But one of the uses of thought is knowing when thought isn't enough. Can you dive?
Can I dive?
I learned how to dive the same summer I learned I was a Christian. It's the easiest thing in the world. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is stop doing something. You have to learn to stop trying to preserve yourself. Once you let yourself go, head first, without worrying where you're going to land or anything, it works. You're a diver.
Mom, Mommy, can we go into the trees?
Can they?
Of course. The woods are part of our property as far as the fence. Where are you all spending Christmas?
Maybe London. We've not decided.
You'd be very welcome to join us here. The boys might like it.
You don't want us rampaging all over your house.
We shall survive. Christmas is more like Christmas with children, isn't it?
What I resent about Christmas is this general presumption of goodwill. I feel no goodwill towards my fellow men. I feel ill goodwill.
Nothing to do with how you feel. Feelings are far too unreliable.
What has it got to do with?
God becomes man. Simple as that.
Then God must be bonkers. Who would choose voluntarily to be human? Far more satisfactory to stay safely divine.
Well, think of Christmas in terms of magic, Christopher. The birth of a helpless, squealing creature who happens to be God and an omnipotent baby. Does that satisfy your taste? The coming of new life, winter, when everything seems to be dead. Snow falls, the trees bear fruit. That's real magic.
Hi, Warnie.
I hope you know what you've let yourself in for.
Douglas? Douglas? Will you be joining us for tea?
Is this the house?
No, not this one. The children were sent to the house of an old professor who lived in the heart of the country, 10 miles from the nearest railway station and 2 miles from the nearest post office. He had no wife, and he lived in a very large house.
It's not so big.
I was just like Douglas.
you hiding from?
I don't know. Before my mother died, there was nothing to be afraid of. I don't think it started off as hiding. I think it started off as seeking.
What were you seeking?
The unfound door. The undiscovered country.
From whose bourne no traveler returns.
That was always the snag. I wanted to travel to other worlds. But I wanted to come home again.
How old were you when your mother died?
Not much older than Douglas is now.
Did it hit you hard?
Yes, it was the end of my world. I remember my father in tears. Voices all over the house. Doors shutting and opening. It was a big house. Long, empty corridors. I remember I had the toothache. I wanted my mother to come to me. I cried for her to come. But she didn't come. My father never spoke about it. It was too much for him. Warnie and I knew that, so we didn't talk about it. Children pick these things up. They have their own way of dealing with things.
In secret hiding places.
Are they or are they not in translation? The Lion, the Witch, and the Clothes Closet? You must mind me, Jack. Success breeds envy, as ever.
Well, I don't know what you call success. Most of my friends tend to treat my children's books.
My wife knows better than I do when I've reached my limit.
Dangerous creatures, wives. They know too much.
I don't understand.
Women's sixth sense. Intuition.
Why should women need a sixth sense? I should have thought 5 senses were enough if you make the effort to use them.
Mrs. Gresham's absolutely right. There's no mystery here. Women are just naturally more inquisitive than men.
Oh, have you ever wondered why?
But I rather suppose that it was because women have always found themselves with more time on their hands.
Nor him he likes to provoke.
I take it you'd rather be ignorant than curious.
Oh, every time. It's the English way, you see. Healthy suspicion of intimacy.
What if the breed manages to reproduce it all?
Well, it's a white Christmas, all right.
Boys will like it.
Something wrong? Bad news?
Not too good. If I were back home now and this were happening, I'd be writing to you for advice.
Then write to me.
Dear Mr. Lewis, my husband is in love with another woman and wants to marry her. Should I give him a divorce? Yours anxiously, middle-aged Christian mother.
Have you been expecting this?
Renee and I are in love and have been since about the middle of August. If it had not been for our love, I could not have come through this summer with as little anguish as I have, for things have been rough financially.
Did you know?
Not about Renee, she is not the first.
Do you love your husband?
Bill's very talented. He wants to do right by everyone. He's a good man at heart. I guess I love him. Bill is an alcoholic. He is compulsively unfaithful. He is sometimes violent. I guess I haven't loved him for years.
Violent.
He breaks chairs. Fires rifles in the air. Oh, not at anyone, just to let off steam. Only when he is drunk, he doesn't know what he's doing. Once he broke a bottle over Douglas's head.
He did what?
Not so good, right?
This is the land of Narnia, said the void. All that lies between the lamp
changed everything for me. I've been turning into a different person ever since.
What happened?
We were living in Westchester. Bill was working in New York. One day Bill called from his office. He said he was losing control of his mind. He wasn't coming home. Bang, put down the phone. That was it. I had 2 small babies. I was all alone. I had no idea what to do. I put the babies to bed and I waited. He didn't come. Around about midnight, I broke down. I felt so useless, so helpless. Babies were upstairs asleep. I was downstairs crying. And there was someone else in the room. Just for a few seconds, maybe half a minute. I knew it was a real person. A person so real that all my precious life seemed a shadow by comparison. It was like waking from sleep. I've no idea what I said. I guess I was just saying, okay then, okay. He came back 3 days later.
Did you tell him?
Hi, Bill. What do you know? God exists. Yes, I told him. I'll say this for Bill. He has an open mind, only you can't keep any one thing in it for long. Oh, thank you, Barney.
So, you're going back to him.
What else can I do? Just a little, Jack.
But, Mommy, you never let us have wine.
You know you don't like it.
I do, too.
A toast to our guests, to Joy, to David, to Douglas, to say Merry Christmas, and to wish you a safe voyage home.
And most of all, because both Warnie and I hope very much we'll be seeing you again, to our continuing friendship. Friendship.
In a provincial ducal court of the 11th century, the number of single idle men far exceeded the number of single women.
The women were not idle. You are about to point out, I deduce, that this surplus of idle males drove them willy-nilly into mass adultery.
Yes, sir.
Married love could not be looked upon as romantic longings because wives were items of baggage. Now, if you were Guillaume de Lorry or Chrétien de Troyes, you would no more consider writing a poem about marrying a woman than you would about buying a pound of tomatoes. Nowadays, of course, poems about wives just not democratically alongside poems about
am as I am. The world is as it is. My contentment or otherwise has very little to do with it.
You don't ever feel a sense of waste?
Of course. All life is waste. Remember, I don't have your faith in divine recycling.
Can't it wait?
What? I said if it can wait, why am I banging on your windy? Well, you say. See what? In there.
Heaven's name have you sprung from?
Nice to see you again, George. Do come in and have a cup of tea, George.
Of course, of course.
It's all right, Jack. We've got a house of our own now.
That's good. Would you take that back into the kitchen?
And this?
Put it by the window.
How does Bill feel about your bringing the boys to England?
He doesn't like it. On the other hand, he can only afford to give us $60 a month. England's cheaper.
How much is that? Doesn't sound enough.
We'll manage.
But if you can't, you will let me help, won't you?
I don't want to take your money, Jack.
Don't be silly, that's what friends are for.
So she's settled here for good, has she?
Who knows? For the foreseeable future.
You know how it looks, don't you, Jack?
I know. She's a good friend, Warner, that's all.
I never really know what he's thinking. I catch glimpses, that's all.
Perhaps he doesn't know himself.
He has such a sharp, clear mind. I suppose I expect him to have everything taped, even himself.
You like him, don't you?
Yes, I like him. Do you think he likes me?
I'm quite sure he does.
But?
I don't have to tell you.
Tell me.
Jack plays safe. He always has.
Thank you, Warnie. Message received.
It's good to have everything out in the open. Then everyone knows where they are.
Sure, that's how I like it, too.
I mean, it's very difficult to know exactly what is going on between people. Sometimes it makes me quite angry that people aren't allowed to be, well, just friends.
Like us, you mean?
Like us. Well, not to say that friendship is a small thing. As a matter of fact, I rate it as one of life's most precious gifts.
But?
But it shouldn't be turned into a watered-down version of something that it's not.
Such as?
Such as... Well, just to give you one example. Romantic love, which nowadays is just about the only emotion that men and women are permitted to feel for each other. And that's not to say that friendship isn't in its way a kind of...
A kind of love.
A kind of love, yes, I knew you'd understand.
Oh, I understand better than that, Jack. You're a bachelor and I'm a divorced woman. Some people might think you have some idea of marrying me. You have no such idea. I'm to have no false expectations. You've decided to have this out in the open because you care about me and don't wish me to be hurt. Have I understood you correctly?
You are extraordinary.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what to say.
It's okay, Jack. Exam over.
Well, you know, if there's ever anything I can do to help.
Sure, I know. Well...
Did I tell you, Warner? I've decided to marry Joy.
No, Jack.
Yes, it seemed like a good idea.
You astound me. No, I mean...
Don't worry, Warner. Nothing's going to change. I'm not really going to marry Joy.
You're not?
The rumors are unfounded.
They are.
What I have agreed to do is to extend my British citizenship to her and the boys so that she can go on living in England.
By marrying her?
Only technically.
You're marrying Joy technically?
A true marriage is a declaration before God, not before some government official. This will be a bureaucratic formality, nothing more. Joy will keep her own name. We will all go on living exactly as before. No one will even know that a marriage has taken place, apart from you, Somerset House, and the Department of Immigration. It is nothing more than a bureaucratic formality.
Before you are joined in matrimony, I have to remind you of the solemn and binding character of the vows you're about to make. Marriage, according to the law of this country, is the union of one man with one woman, voluntarily entered into for life, to the exclusion of all others. Now we proceed to the exchange of vows. Mr. Lewis, if you'll repeat after me. I call upon these persons here present.
I call upon these persons here present.
To witness that I, Clive Staples Lewis.
To witness that I, Clive Staples Lewis.
Do take thee, Helen Joy Davidman.
Do take thee, Helen Joy Davidman.
To be my lawful wedded wife.
To be my lawful wedded wife.
Do we have a ring? No ring. Very well, the ring is not statutory.
The statement sets out the nature of the marriage, the reasons why you have entered into it.
Yes, I understand.
This is a disclaimer to rights in each other's estates.
Yes, of course.
This is a declaration that the marriage is undertaken solely for the purpose of your naturalization and that you have no intention of living as man and wife.
Yes, I understand.
If there is nothing you object to in the wording, your signature here.
Of course.
Good.
This must be an unusual kind of document for you.
I don't believe I've ever drawn up such a statement before.
What's to be done with it?
It will be kept here. Mr. Lewis's instructions are very clear on this point, Miss Gresham. The statement is strictly confidential, and its existence will be divulged to no others beyond those now in this room.
Mr. Lewis's instructions are always very clear.
Quite right. Past my bedtime.
What will the neighbors think?
The worst, I've no doubt.
Don't you sometimes burst to share the joke?
What joke?
All the neighbors thinking we're unmarried and up to all sorts of wickedness, where all the time we're married and up to nothing. Technically married.
I should be going.
Leaving already?
You're a good friend, Joy.
So are you, Jack. Jack, you've given me so much. You've got to let me give you something back.
You know me, Joy?
I guess I do.